Today we're going to go over our new features that we added to the software last Tuesday, I believe. And it is the site plan improvements as well as your 2D blueprints improvement with adding our electrical plans. So if you can hear me, please kind of give me a thumbs up in the chat and let me go ahead and share my screen. All right, so I see that you guys can hear me. Great. If you have any questions, feel free to ask those questions in the chat box. Let's try to keep the questions limited to what our topic is for today. If we still have some time left before our session, I'll open the floor to just kind of quick, simple questions that are not about this topic that I can kind of show you really quick. Because I know sometimes some people don't have access to support because of the type of account that you have. So I like to give people time if we have some time remaining. All right. Before I get started, if you see this option right here, this is a feature that will eventually be added in the test environment right now. It's not added to your international or the US software, and we do not have a release date just yet. So I don't want you to think because you see this feature that it's not on your project, it's not on your planner, and that's because we're in the process of adding it. So just nothing is missing on your planner, FYI. Okay, so the first thing I want to go over today will be our new addition to the site plan that we added. So starting in your layout step, this applies if you've already have created your lot as well as adding elevation. So the first thing we're going to go over is when you come to layout and select land, you want to first draw your lot. As you can see, I already have a lot drawn here. For the purpose of this, I'm going to go ahead and let me just delete this lot. You're going to set your lot based on the project that you're working on. If you already have a blueprint that you've uploaded and you know what your lot is, perfect. If not, you can determine your lot based on what your own estimates. All right, and then once the lot is set, you will see this green outline around the house. The next thing you want to do is you're going to zoom in and let me move. You can move the lot by clicking on the edge. And then when you select the edge of your lot in the right panel, do you see where it says setback line? You're going to set your setback line. Now, the setback line is something that we already had in your lot, but the changes that we made was now you're able to, so if I do 10 feet, now you see that we have your dimension for your setback line automatically already on there. So previously it's not something that we had, right? And now when you add the setback line all throughout your lot, it gives you a continuous setback. So if I click on this edge, I'm gonna hit 10 feet. Now you see that it joins the other. Previously, it was not doing that. So that's just a feature. And then as you see here, we also have your dimension for the setback here as well. And you can do it all around. It doesn't all have to be 10. Let's say this one's going to be 5 feet. It will still show 5, but it'll still be continuous. And I'll do the same thing over here. Let's do 5 feet. It still shows 5 and it's continuous. Now, if you were to exit out of your land area, and let's say you come to adding walls and you come up to your ground floor, you can always go back and change your the lot and your setback lines by going back to your land, going down to your terrain, and then you won't be able to select the setback line directly, but you click on the edge of the lot to change your setback. So remember that, because if you try to select just the setback line, you notice that nothing pops up here. It's only selecting the lot. You want to make sure you select the edge of the, I think I moved it. There you go. The edge of the lot, and then in the right panel, you'll see the option for your setback line. Now, in your folder step, when you go to your site plan, the setback line now is included in your site plan. Actually, before I get here, Another change that we made, I want you to notice how I already have my elevations already set on this project, right? So when you come here, you see that this project, see the elevation is higher in the front, sloping down. All right. The reason I'm pointing this out to you is because with these elevation points already here, if I come to folder and I come to the site plan, now our new features, it allows you to add your setback lines to your site plan. So in the right panel, you'll see where it says setback line right here. Always make sure if you want to add it to your site plan, make sure it's checked, and you'll see the setback line is going to be selected, and you're going to see the dimension line as well. You can edit the font and the sizing of your dimension lines by clicking on that. Now, as for your elevations, the reason I was showing you the elevations that's already on the plan is because now you have the option to come to your dimensions, and where it says land elevation, you can then bring that over and you'll be able to set your land elevation. So you see back here, it was 0. And now what's going to happen, it's going to gradually change. So even though I have my elevations, at some parts is at 5 feet, other parts in the back is at 0. Back here is exactly at 0 what I want it to be. But if you notice, it's like a gradual slope. So it's not going to be exactly 0, because then when you come up the gradual slope, it changes. Right? It changes as it goes up. And it's going to come up, as your elevation increases. Right? So I'm going to add one here. I'm going to add another, let's say here. And then you also have, these options in the right panel where you can change the sizing of them to where it gives you a better view, you can read it better, right? Same thing goes for your dimension lines on your site plan. So you're able to change your dimensions, and now it's a little bit more legible. And you can change the color and all of that. Now, before I move on to something else, does anybody have any questions about that? Okay. All right, now something else that we have added is how to create electrical plans. So let's go back to my folder step. Your folder step, this is where you're going to be able to create electrical plans. One of the things that you can already do in the system is create different floor plans for the same project. So you see here it says ground floor, first floor, basement. I'm going to say add floor plan. Now, this is optional. You can obviously click on ground floor and make your ground floor into your electrical plans if you want, or you can add electrical plans to every single floor plan if you like. For the purpose of this demo, I'm going to just create a new one. So I'm going to add floor plan, and I'm going to select which floor I'm working on. So for this, I'm going to be working on the ground floor. Check. And now working on this ground floor, I want to, in the dimensions, I'm sorry, not the dimension, in the shapes tool, this is where you want to add your curved lines for your electrical plans. So prior to doing that, I'm going to come to symbols. I'm going to go to technical, and under the electrical and gas, I'm going to hit all symbols, right? So now I'm able to select one of our duplex sockets. So I'm going to click on it here. Now you can obviously, like everything else, you can repeat action. So I'm going to click on this repeat action. I'm going to select another one, 220 volt socket. And I'm going to put this here. But then because I have the repeat action, it's just going to continue to have this 220 volt socket selected. Because it was already selected in one direction, it's going to continue to be that direction until I either go back to select or hit the space button on my keyboard and unselect the repeat action. Now I'm able to come here to this one, that's turned. I can turn my socket to face the wall like I need it to. I also have the option, obviously you have all of these different electrical options here. I just use the ones in the the beginning. Let's say I want to type in fan, and I want to add a fan in this area right here. I'm going to activate my ratio conversion, which means that anytime I change the height, the width and the height is going to change at the same time when I activate it. So that's what I want to do. I'm going to do that. And now, this is just kind of, we have all of this already in the software, in the catalog. So what's the new addition is now in my dimensions, or I keep saying dimensions, in the shapes tab right here, I'm going to select arrow. And now I'm going to either set straight or curved. For this demo, I'm going to select straight. So I'm going to start here. And then for every click gives you a continuous turn in your line. So you can just keep going as much as you like to go, right? You can kind of continuously. All right, now I can, since I chose the straight line, and let's say it was an accident, but you decided, okay, I want this curved instead of straight. You don't have to go back and reselect it. You can just click on the line that you've added, start by clicking on the points. And then you see in the right panel where now you have the style, it'll switch to your curved line. And clicking on the points, similar to our exterior step and similar to the layout step, the points allow you to change the curves and manipulate it how you want. You also have the option to add a point to this line. And I can create another curve as well. And same thing goes, you can add text. Let's say I'm going to add a text here. Living room fan. And you change the size of the font and all of that. You can either, and then let's say you wanted to show a different type of, let's say electrical lining or wiring in that same space, but you don't want to confuse yourself. No problem. Under their shapes option, select arrow, or you can select line. It does not have to be an arrow. I just keep saying arrow, but it does not have to be an arrow. You can just do the regular lines. And I'm going to select curved here. But for me, let's say this is going to represent something completely different. It's up to you. You can actually change this line by creating a dashed line, making it an arrow or a straight line. And you also have the option to adjust the thickness of that line. I think I made it too thick. There you go. And then you can change the color as well. So now you can have a completely different line that represents something else on your plan. And we don't yet have a section to where you can create a legend. However, you can still create like a makeshift legend on the side of your plan if you were to use, kind of just become creative, right? So if you use this arrow here, and you can kind of just type in, and then let's use a straight line. All right, now I can use text and I can indicate what this is for. So I come over here. Power socket. And then here I can say power socket 2. I think you get the point at this point. And you can kind of create your own, legend on the side of your plan to where you have specific indicators for where these lines are on your plan. Does anybody have any questions? I am liking upgrade. Okay, somebody said they have the app open, they don't see where to find folders. So if you have the app open and you look, oh, you found it. All right, good. I'm glad you guys are liking the upgrade. There's still some stuff coming. So as you know, we're always improving the software based off of feedback and what you guys want. When I come back to folder, another thing I wanted to show you, with this, you're able to change the new plan that you created, right? So I'm gonna say electrical plan. And you can print your electrical plan in the right panel down here where it says the JPEG file or the DXF file. Now, obviously, if you have a Pro or Enterprise account, you also have the ability to create a document with all of your plans here. And this one document will have, like, you can add your ground floor plan, first floor plan, basement, the basement plan, all in the electrical plans and so forth in that one document. But if you were to only need, let's say you have your PDF already and you just want to add this in, you can just click on the plan here in the right panel. You can download it in the right. Now, with this feature, something else that I noticed that, I don't mind showing you is you can actually we don't have typography just yet from the layout step into the folder step for your site plan for your elevation lines. However, you can use shapes and the same process of creating lines and curves to kind of create a, kind of a typography type, you all understand what I'm trying to say, and create this curve and then use the text or use your dimensions to add your land elevations for that indicator on your site plan. And then the same thing goes, you can print your site plan here, download it here, or this is going to be selected when you download your blueprints on your project information page. All right, I think I have covered everything. Does anybody have any questions relating to this before we have about 10 more minutes, so I can cover something else if you like? All right, so nobody has any questions relating to the site plan as well as the electrical blueprints. I hope I was clear. You can also find tutorials on this in our knowledge base that kind of goes over it. This webinar is also going to be sent to you. So you'll be able to revisit it. And as you know, if you're a professional enterprise user, you can always send us a chat message or you can send us an email. And your chat box is up here, as well as our knowledge base in the help resources option is over here. Now, since we've covered the site plan and electrical plans, does anybody have any other questions about the software that I can help you with? Something short that I can go over right now. All right, show us how to create elevations. Okay, so when you say elevations, which elevations are you referring to? Are you referring to the land elevation to create slopes, or are you referring to like side views or elevation plans? Land create slopes. Okay, so somebody asked for me to show you guys how to create elevations. So to create your elevations, you're going to go to your layout step, and in the left, you'll see where it says land. And make sure you're on your terrain. And your elevation point is where I suggest to create your sloping environments. Now with the elevation point, when you select it, just think of it this way. 0 is like a flat ground, and then a positive number is going to be going sloping uphill. A negative number is going to be sloping downhill. So for this demo, I'm actually going to, let me delete these points so you can see, so I can just redo them and you can see what I am referring to. All right, so as you can see, everything is on one ground, like the same level right now. Now in the layout, select land, elevation point. I'm gonna set my elevation points here. My default elevation for the front is going to be 5 feet. So I'm set at 5 feet. Now, we always suggest to make sure you have your lot already drawn out, which I already do. And the reason being is you don't want to start adding a lot of points for right now. You want to add maybe 4 most important points and then work your way up from there, because what happens is it's going to create a gradual slope depending on the distance that you have your points set at. All right, I have maybe 4 areas here that I'm going to set at 5 feet, which is going to be sloping uphill. So that means I'm going to select my repeat action icon, because I don't want to have to keep coming back to select it and coming back to select the elevation point. So I'm going to start here. 1, 2, 3, and 4. So for now, you see that nothing has changed much, right? That's because in the back, I need to set the elevation in the back, which is lower than the elevation in the front. So now I'm going to change this to 0. And then I'm going to add 0 back here and back here. And once I do that, you see how now I have this sloping environment coming up. So this is 5 feet up here, and then this is a sloping down here. It's exactly 0. So it's flat ground down here. Now, for the purpose of like something like this, I have a basement already added to this, but I'm going to delete the basement. What's going to happen is once you create this type of slope, your house is going to be, where is it? Your house is going to kind of float, right? So we always suggest this is when you want to become creative, and you're going to add a basement to serve as a kind of like a foundation for your home. So I'm going to add the basement here, and all I'm going to do is duplicate the walls. That's it. I'm only duplicating the exterior walls. So then that way you have it kind of fills in down here, and you don't have to use this as a working basement. You're only kind of using this as a foundation level. So in the layout step, you can actually change the name to foundation. So that way you don't confuse yourself. All right. And now with a plan like this, where you have, you have the bottom half of the house has brick, but then you add this foundation here. All you have to do is come back to material, and remember, you add brick using zones. So you have 1 or 2 things. I already have the zone selected, but just for the purpose of a demo, I'm going to select zone, and I'm going to select horizontal area. I'm going to place this zone here. Oh, I forgot. I have repeat actions checked. So even though I've added it, it's still selected. So I'm just going to click here, back to select. And I'm going to click on the zone that I've added, and I'm going to adjust the height of the zone. And I just want to keep adjusting. And the next thing, I'm going to select where I've already added the brick, copy it, and duplicate it. Now, that was just for the purpose of showing you how to add the zone. But since I already have a zone here, I don't have to even do all of that. I can just come and copy the zone, duplicate it, and place it where I need it to go. Now, it's smaller than what I need, so I'm just going to now just adjust the height. And then do the same thing here. And the same thing, it's smaller, so I'm just going to adjust the height. And then you kind of just do the same thing. So if I select repeat action, I can kind of do the same thing here. And close out my foundation area. Now the zone is not going to be applied to the floor. That's why you see that every time I am on the floor, it turns red. So don't think that you're doing something wrong. It's just the zones are only going to attach to the walls. So internal or exterior walls. Now, let me select this one. All right. So now you have your elevation kind of sloping downhill. and you filled in using your basement, kind of filled in the foundation level so it's equal out. Now you also have the option in your layout when you are in land and come down to terrain. Land and terrain is how you want to change or edit your elevation. You can click on any of these elevation points here and you can adjust it, or you can go and add more elevation. So since you see that, all right, I've added this elevation, but let's say, for example, the walk out, or in front of the house past the garage or past the gate is a lot taller than 5 feet. You can come back to land and you can add more elevation points that's taller than 5 feet. So let's say it's 10 feet. It's going to be extremely high, but let's say it's 10 feet. I'm going to come out here. You see, when I did that, you saw how it went all the way up here. I only did it on one side just so you can see the difference. I don't need that, so I'm going to delete it. Do you have any other questions? Was that kind of clear on the creating elevations? How do you create wall outlet and switch elevations? We do not have switch elevations just yet. That's not something that we just added the elevation, no, not elevation, the electrical plans a week ago. So that is something that we are working to add. Now, if you wanted to add switches in your 3D aspect, you can do that in your furnishing step. So let me come here. And then, as you know, when you're working in 3D and you select your level that you're on, make sure you actually, even though I'm looking at the ground floor, I am not on the ground floor. I can't stress that enough. A lot of people want to work in 3D, but because you're looking on the ground floor, you assume that you are, but you're not. Which means anytime you add something, it's only going to be added to the terrain. It's not going to be added to your ground floor. So make sure you actually switch to the ground floor. And then these two icons up here allows you to deactivate your roof and deactivate the floors above so you can see inside of the house and see inside the ground floor. All right, so now let me come here. Let's say you open the catalog under technical and seller, you have the plugs and the switches. These are the options that we have here. And now you can add in your electrical, the 3D options that we have available. And you're going to see European options as well because we are a French company, but I always select all products, because then when you keep scrolling, you will see the US options here. So it won't be just, and then you have your electrical outlets for the 3D. Now we don't have elevations just yet with that, on 2D elevations yet with these specific type of switches. I hope I answered your questions. You can add plugs in the 3D. Yep, yes you can. Add the plugs in the 3D. Does anybody have any other questions before we're done for today? Okay, great. Just remember this webinar is going to be sent to you so you can review it. You can also go to our knowledge base. All the way at the bottom, you'll see an option for webinars. And this is every single webinar that I have done. All the features that we have, I've created a webinar for them. And sometimes if I have a question that's I see a lot of people are asking these questions, I decide, okay, let me go ahead and create a webinar. So we have split level webinars. We have how to build container homes, like all of that is in there. So our knowledge base is a huge resource. And we also have our Cedreo Academy. So for those of you that want a little bit more in-depth training, let's say you're new to the software, you do not have any, you're not a pro or enterprise user, but you would like some training, just let me know, send me an email, and I can send you our sign up for the Cedreo Academy, and it's free to sign up. And it gives you a detailed training from logging into your account up until creating a project, just to kind of give you the basics of how to use Cedreo. But We're done for the day. Remember, use your imagination when it comes to Cedreo, where you can literally use anything in our software for anything. Even though it's labeled one thing, you can use it for what you want to use it for. All right, guys. You guys have a good day and happy drawing.